Welcome back to Lake Placid, New York, the site of the 2001 Great Outdoor Games presented by Jeep Liberty. We move now to the Meadows, the site of this year's Retriever Trial competition. 12 of the world's best dogs and their handlers will work very closely together using hand signals and a whistle. In all 3 rounds, they will attempt to make 4 retrieves, including a very difficult blind retrieve. And there have been some critical changes made to this year's course, including a lot more of this, a lot more water. And endurance will also be a factor because the longest retrieve is over 250 yards.
That's right, Mark. Last year, the 265-yard-long mark proved to be a near impossible challenge. Dogs struggled, and there was trouble. Dogs couldn't see or hear their handler, and there was more trouble. Dogs were lost, and there was total trouble. Until finally, Skeet and his handler, Barry Lyons, managed a perfect run on their 3rd and final try. Well, this year, everyone's making a special effort to prepare for the long marks on this challenging course.
Jackie Mertens, you were the one that suggested an attention getter out where that long bird is being thrown. They've added a shotgun blast this year. How's that going to help MASH?
I think it'll help immensely. It'll help not only MASH, but all the dogs, because they will look out there, they will see the arc and the fall of the bird, which is necessary in order for them to mark the bird.
Well, we look forward to seeing how that goes. Frankie Yelverton, good news and bad news for you. You're here with the defending champion. That's certainly the good news. The bad news is you're not the professional handler that handled him last year, who was Barry Lyons. Tell me, how do you feel? Are you a little tense?
Well, anytime you remove a handler of the quality of Barry Lyons, you're losing a lot. But I've handled Skeet a good bit, and he'll run for anybody. He doesn't care who's driving him as long as he's there for the ride.
Well, good luck to you both.
Well, in the final round, the starting line is going to swing around to the left. That essentially gives all the dogs a brand new course to deal with. Additionally, the long retrieve also becomes the blind retrieve. No dummies, no shots fired, nothing but the handler to show that dog the correct line. So rounds 2 and 3 are monsters, but 1's no slouch either.
Not at all, Tommy. Consistency. The judges are looking for no handler mistakes, no retriever mistakes. They've also implemented a memory buster in round 2. You know what that can do. It'll make it extremely difficult to remember those last few marks.
Rounds 1, 2, and 3, all really, really tough. Right now, though, most of the handlers are putting their dogs through the paces, but some of them are taking a creative approach to cross-training.
No fights. Come here. Hey, hey, hey. Atta girl. Atta girl. All right. Sit. Everybody sit. 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 Ace, sit. Millie, it's your day. Millie. Atta girl.
It looks like Millie has made the cut from among Jeff Hinnard's troops. They have a challenging first round ahead of them. But we're going to start things off with the #1 seed. Some of the favorites coming in here, Super Sue and Jerry Day. That's just moments away, the first round of the Retriever Trials competition. We're back and we're ready to go now with round 1 of our retriever competition. First to the line, Super Sue, handled by Jerry Day of Atlanta, Georgia. Super Sue, one of the most decorated retrievers in history. Sue is marking each one of these.
The last bird thrown is called the go bird.
Heel.
These dogs
Heel.
are required to pick that one up first. She's unsteady at the line. That's going to cost her 2 points.
Sue.
Sue's 10 years old. She tends to move a little bit slower, but she's steady. It makes her really consistent. That's called the diversion bird.
Sue.
Thrown to be a distraction. It's a short mark. It seems like it would be an easy retrieve, but she's marked it from a different perspective.
Each whistle 2 points. That means 4 points so far.
Seems surprising that the diversion bird would be holding her up like this.
Sue.
But Jerry's an awfully careful handler.
Jerry says Sue is super focused, but she's really got the potential to be distracted by some of the extra hubbub that's going along here at the games.
A really solid retrieve, though. It seems like he may be overhandling her, but he's very, very careful. He'll blow a whistle whenever she gets offline.
Going for the middle mark here.
Back.
Every long whistle like that means the dog must stop, look back at the handler for directions. Every whistle is 2 points.
Back.
Now, he said back instead of saying her name. That indicates to her she's going on a blind retrieve. That means the bird's planted out there. She doesn't know where it is.
Back.
210 yards on this blind. They just keep getting longer the further you make it into the competition.
Now, it's really important to Jerry that he keeps her in a straight line from him all the way out to that bird, and he did a tremendous job. He took her straight to it.
A solid 22 points, a good number to put up for the next competitor to shoot at. Super Sue and Jerry Day. Coming up next now,
Mark.
Scott Martin, that Chesapeake there, is named Canvas.
Heel. Heel. Sit. Mark. Good. Heel.
Scott is a heating and air conditioning contractor from Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. Canvas here is 5 years old.
Canvas.
Canvas is a really focused dog. Scott says that now and then he has to sit him down and say, hey, who's in charge here? A little bit offline here.
This is a match play format, so they must beat 22 points. A figure smaller than 22 points in order to advance to the semifinal round.
Canvas.
Nice straight line. Now that staccato whistle indicates to the dog, come back in where I can see you. It's called the comeback call. He's telling him to go straight back, and he didn't go straight back. He angled back, and that's a problem. He's out of sight now.
All right, well, Canvas is running up his tab here. Already he's been beaten.
This is a tough line for these dogs. Dogs instinctively follow the natural contour of land.
Well, it would have taken a perfect mark and only 2 whistles blown in order for this dog to have competed. We've done better than the 22 points. Unfortunately, 48, Super Sue and Jerry Day advanced to the semis. Up next, the Black Lab BB and her handler Marty Newport, taking on last year's gold medalist Frankie Yelverton and Skeet. Frankie is actually Skeet's owner. Skeet last year, though, was handled by Barry Lyons. Barry works offshore and unfortunately had to work this week.
This could really work against him. Frankie's a good handler, but they're not used to working together as a team, he and Skeet.
23 points so far, so things are not going well. 30 now.
And he's doing a lot of whistling. A handler takes control of the retrieve once he makes that whistle. And this can be really costly. It puts a lot of pressure on the dog. Now, Skeet's not in a straight line there. You should look for a straight line from his tail through his spine all the way up to his nose, leading straight to where that bird is out there. And Skeet was not in a straight line. Frankie should have seen that. Now, Frankie's wearing black gloves. These are called handling gloves. They're a direct contrast against his lighter colored shirt. That should help the dog. Now, he sent him on a straight back, and Skeet did not go straight back. Frankie's wife and his son, Matt. A lot of confusion out here. Dogs take their emotional cues off of the handler. Frankie is really nervous, and I think he's undermined Skeet's confidence. You can see how deliberate he is.
A score of 107 for a team that really just couldn't get it flowing today. So, for Marty Newport and BB here.
Left, middle, right. Mark. Set.
Just keep it on the road.
Set.
Steady at the line there. That's going to cost him. She doesn't even know where to look. You can see she's really looking around.
Sit.
She's just lost
Mark.
4 points. Another 2 points there.
BB's often running a small dog, only 47 pounds. She has to bounce up sometimes to see those marks. That can be misinterpreted as unsteadiness at the line, but I think, Sarah, she actually was that time.
Yeah, she certainly was. And Marty is a real pro, though. He's going to allow her a little unsteadiness at the line to keep her enthusiasm up, not to put too much pressure on her. The scores from this round won't carry over to the next round. He's playing it safe. He doesn't mind if he scores really high here, as long as it's under 107.
A score of 51. They kept it between the ditches. BB and Marty Newport will advance to the semis. We got a couple of speedsters coming up.
All right, thanks, Tommy. An interesting retriever competition so far. We'll see how the speedsters fare just a little later in this afternoon show. Guy German and Wade Stewart climb fast and go saw to saw in the tree-topping semifinals. Next.
Lots of speed and youth in our retriever competition.
Not necessarily an advantage, but certainly fun to watch.
Here.
Well, Larry Calvert and Tripp have come all the way from Charlo, Montana to compete here today.
Tripp was unsteady at the line there, cost him 4 points.
He's a retired refuge manager with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. This is the left bird, 155 yards.
Tripp is not used to a gun at the line, but it does not seem to be affecting his marking ability too much. Little bit of handling here.
Quite a few points going here. Now we're up to 16.
Oh.
Yeah.
Larry got a little teary when he talked to me about Tripp. He has a lot of pride in this dog, and you can see why.
A lot of trouble with that middle mark. 39 points there as we head into the blind.
Now he's drifting to the right there. That could be a problem.
Back.
If he goes too far to the right at all, Larry loses sight of him.
Tripp, an 8-year-old black Labrador retriever.
Now you can see there, Tripp got right to it. He knew where to go, but he honored the command. That did cost an additional 2 points by sitting down and looking back.
Thank you.
He wraps it up with a total of 51 points. That certainly opens the door for Millie and Jeff Hennard.
Sit. Here they are. Sit. Millie, a 4-year-old chocolate lab. Jeff from Lincoln, Texas.
Millie.
You saw earlier in our coverage, they came here with no less than 20 dogs. Millie's the one that made the cut today.
And Millie is fast. She's young, and this can really work against her. She can blow right over a mark.
Oh.
She's certainly aggressive. Once she sees that bird, she's on it.
Heel.
Jeff fears they both may be a little bit too competitive. They put too much pressure on each other.
But he says he picked Millie out of his kennel because she's the most consistent. She's the only chocolate in our trials this year.
All right, we're on the 3rd retrieve here. Middle retrieve. He's left the hunt area multiple times.
That staccato whistle, the comeback call, they're really having some problems out here. She's bombing through that water. She can't hear him.
Got to be very careful. Got to stay under 51 points.
The lowest score wins.
Here.
Oh, 79. And a hug of consolation from wife Joy. But Larry Calvert and Tripp did it. They're on to the semis. Coming up next, one of the favorites, Slim and Gene Anderson, up against last year's silver medalist, Jacob Vidrine and Dish. Slim, an 8-year-old black lab. First time in the Great Outdoor Games this year.
Slim is totally professional out in the field. These two work really well together as a team. Now, unfortunately, it looks like Gene has lost sight of him. This is a tough way to start.
This is the blind retrieve right here.
He had only 13 penalty points coming into the blind, and now they're really falling apart. Gene has problems with his eyesight.
Those blind retrieves only get tougher as the competition moves along, should they advance.
Gene really needs to rely on Slim. And unfortunately, Slim is totally lost right now. Slim's responding perfectly to everything Gene's telling him, and he did put him right to it, but that was a tough blind.
48 points on that blind retrieve alone, 61 total. So the favorite here, Slim, had better watch out. That score is going up against last year's silver medalist, Dish. Obviously a disappointing score for this duo, which has achieved so much. Now they can only sit and wait until the next team comes to the line.
Let's go.
Dish is known for being wound up, but that is a little too wound up. She is going to be really hard for Jacob to handle. She's known for being stoked, but she is on fire today.
4-year-old black lab that is all about speed.
Sit.
She's unsteady at the line here.
No, sit.
Here. Oh, she has broken. That's a 5-point penalty. That's going to hurt.
Sit.
Thrown her focus off.
Mark. Dish.
They hunt far more than they compete, says Jacob.
They only compete 2 times a year, and it's just been too much for him. Too much pressure out there in the field. He couldn't get her under control.
Jacob Vadrine has seen all he needs to see today. Maybe another time for this pair from Lafayette, Louisiana. Advancing Gene Anderson and Slim. They dodge a bullet with their 61 points. They're on to the semis.
Well, I suspect that John Travolta will have no competition from our handlers for the long-awaited Saturday Night Fever sequel. All good sports, however. Let's get back to Tommy and Sarah at the Meadow.
Round 1 continues in our retriever trials competition. Up next, Andrew Conti and the second Chesapeake retriever in this competition. This is Angus.
This is the first and only retriever he has ever trained, and he learned how to train him by watching videos.
Incredible. Andrew from Cobourg, Ontario. We do have an international field here.
And this Canadian team has proven they're super competitive. They work really well together. Nice retrieve on the Go Bird. Now on that middle bird, this bird's caused some problems for some of the other handlers out here.
Finally, he gets that one.
Back.
Andrew's really letting Angus do his own thing and seems to be working really well. Now there he's let him wander a little bit out of the hunt area. The judges set up a circle around the bird, and they expect the dogs to stay within that. That's called the hunt area. If they go outside of that, that's called leaving the hunt area, and they're assessed a 5-point penalty every time they do.
Did it 3 times during that middle retrieve. So
Back.
now with 25 points, they head into the blind.
Following the contour of the land, making that same mistake most of the dogs have made. He's going to have to call him back to gain some sight of him.
Back.
This dog handles really, really well.
Like all Chesapeakes, he's got that drive. They said he retrieved from the very first day he was brought home as a puppy.
It's going to be tough to beat that. A total of 31 points.
Wonderful competitive round for Angus and Andrew Conti from Ontario, Canada.
And they should be proud.
Coming up next, that golden retriever, that is Mash. Handled by Jackie Mertens. Many say this is the dark horse duo. This entire competition, watch them. Jackie, a kennel owner, been training dogs since she was in grade school back in the 50s.
It's no coincidence that the only woman in this trial is running the only golden retriever. Golden retrievers tend to be a little bit soft, a little bit sensitive, and women seem to work really well with them. They respond well. And this dog is solid. He runs with tremendous confidence, tremendous style.
3 retrieves and no points so far.
Mash is a marking machine, and he's got a great memory. But now, you notice she just said back. That means this is the blind retrieve. And still he runs out in a straight line with great confidence. They've got a 29-point lead at this point.
Remember, the lowest score is your winner. Lowest score will advance to the semis.
And she's doing a lot of handling here. She's definitely not trusting his line right now.
31 is the number they have to stay under.
They're assessing a lot of points right now. Now only leading by 11 points. It seems to me Jackie's overhandling, and she may be trying to play it safe, but she's put a lot of pressure on that dog.
Well, that does it. There's the blind. A 3-point difference, 28-31. Jackie Mertens and Mash will advance to the semifinals. Andrew Conti and Angus did pretty much everything they needed to do today, just fell a slim margin short. 3 points.
Really tough break.
Jack Jagoda and Tardy up next against Bill Autry and Cody. Here we go. Jack Jagoda, well-respected pro trainer from Gold Vein, Virginia, current president, founding member of the NAHRA.
Here's a highly competitive team. Tardy's got 11 years of experience. He's the oldest dog in the competition. And they're in that problem area. This mark has caused problems for just about everyone out here. The noise of that water splashing around, he can't hear the handler. And it's happening now.
It's being marked for whistle refusal and 10 points so far.
The Jack's not whistling now because he doesn't want to keep racking those up. But now Tardy's wandering out of the hunt area, racking up 5-point penalties every time he wanders out. That was a tough break on that first bird.
But we have seen this motif before today, haven't we?
It's been a problem. He's racked up 29 points on that mark. Sometimes it's better just to take a few 2-point penalties by going ahead, whistling, stopping, casting the dog, but he let him wander.
All right, here is Cody. Bill Autry is his trainer. Bill Autry has a very soft voice due to surgery for throat cancer back in 1987. So theirs is pretty much a world of visual cues.
Bill says the fact that he has no voice has actually given them a closer bond. Cody really has to watch him, and they work well. Now that's called popping right there. You see how he stopped and looked back? That's a bad thing to have happen. That's a 2-point penalty right there.
43 points is the number they have to stay under so far. Lowest score advances.
Now Bill's just letting him work the area. He's right where he needs to be. And he's nailed it. So far, only 4 penalty points.
Come to me. Here. Sit. Sit.
Now they're heading into the blind. That's given a lot of the other handlers a lot of trouble. Nice straight line from the handler. Cody runs with great confidence. There's 2 points right there for handling him. but he's keeping him right in line. That was spectacular. Solid teamwork. It's clear here that the handler and dog have complete confidence in each other.
The standard has been set on round 2, 6 points. What an incredible, elegant round by Bill Autry and Cody. We are ready for the semifinals with the likes of MASH, the yellow Labrador Retriever Sue, and the amazing Cody.
A real mix of retrievers, young, old, and men and women all advancing to the semis. We've got a great mix.
Tommy and Sarah, all the ingredients for a great final. I'm looking forward to it. Sunday afternoon, 2:30 on ESPN. Up next, Greg Hart and Guy German fight for the gold in the tree-topping finals.
As we head into the second round of our competition, we do it without our silver medalist from last year, Dish. Too much youth and enthusiasm.
And our gold medalist, Skeet, was missing his professional handler, Barry Lyons.
Perhaps one of the dark horse favorites in this competition, MASH did advance, a squeaker over Angus from Canada.
This 4-year-old golden retriever is handled by the only woman in the competition. No surprise, the sensitive golden retriever responds well to a female handler.
Another one of our favorites, Super Sue, handled by Jerry Day, advanced without much trouble.
10 years old and the most consistent dog in the field.
And the round we will all remember, the incredible run by Cody, 6 points.
Almost no handling.
Set up and ready to go now with round number 2. The course has changed. All of the marks are a little longer. They're in places that are harder to get to as well. There's our semifinal field. Super Sue, Trip, Slim, Cody, MASH, and BB, and we are ready to go. Well, here's how our course has been reset for round number 2. Again, we have a bird on the left, a little longer, 155 yards, a blind, much longer, and significantly over to the left.
The last bird thrown is called the Go Bird.
Heel.
They're required
Heel.
to pick that one up first, and then they also have to contend with the Memory Buster.
Sit.
Designed to confuse a dog.
Sit and watch.
Going first in round 2 again, Jerry Day and Super Sue.
Now that's a 265-yard Go Bird.
Sue!
It's been designed now with a shotgun out there to have the dog look a little bit further out. Sue's taking a nice line. Jerry is one handler that constantly hugs and kisses his dog. They've got a really sweet bond. They're both truly professional in the field, but they're also best friends. It's a tough combination to beat.
Here, right there now.
No points so far. Good job on the Go Bird.
Sit, right there. Right there, sit.
And there's the Memory Buster, also known as the delayed quad. It's designed to bust the memory of other marks already thrown out there. It's a short bird. And it's right in line with where she's going to have to go next.
Don't let that duck hit you in the head.
That can be a problem for some dogs to push beyond an old fall.
Heel. Heel.
Still perfect, no points.
It's really important to him that he lines her up correctly. See a straight line down her spine, down through her nose, all the way out to where that bird is. She's only had to be handled once. It was one whistle in there. 2 points assessed on that retrieve.
Here we go on the blind.
This is a very difficult blind retrieve. Jerry concentrating. He's going to be really careful here. He's pushing her back, indicating to her that she's got to go a lot further back. That staccato whistle indicates to her she needs to come back in, and he's put her straight onto the bird.
Good girl. That's a girl.
Every long whistle indicates to the dog it needs to stop, sit, and look back for direction.
Sit.
2 points for those penalties as well.
Very impressive run for Super Sue and Jerry Day, 19 points. Larry Calvert and Tripp have their work cut out for them.
Tripp. Back.
Oh, they're off to a bad start. The go mark should be the easiest one. It's the last to fall, but Tripp did not seem to mark it. Seems to want to go for that far left bird.
Over.
Now, Tripp marked that bird well to the left, and it's really hard for a handler now to pull a dog off of a bird that he knows is out there. He's having to handle this now as if it's a blind.
Bear in mind, they've got to keep it under 19 points. That is the strong number put up by Jerry Day and Sue.
This is a huge blow. Already 14 penalty points stacked up just on the first bird.
Back.
Here's the blind.
They've had a great recovery coming into the blind. No points assessed on the memory buster or the left mark. They've got a fighting chance. 2 whistles now. And unfortunately, that last whistle was the one to push him over the edge. Straight to that blind retrieve. 24 points is a great score, but it won't be enough to beat Super Sue.
Nothing to be ashamed of. That is a good number. Those 14 points in the very first retrieve is what broke it for this pair. Next to the line, Jackie Mertens and her golden retriever Mash. A rematch from one of our qualifying events with Marty Newport and BB.
Mash is a 4-year-old golden retriever. That youth can work against him. He is fast.
Mash!
And he bolts from the line. And he is so fast, he is already taking a bad line. He's going to get hit with a penalty, hit with another penalty for being out of the hunt area. What happened there? Mash has a great memory. He remembers that the blind retrieve in round 1 was about 10 yards beyond where this mark was. Jackie had to handle him back, but that was pricey.
Well, Mash was perfect on the next 2 retrieves.
Now going into the blind retrieve, remember the dog does not know where that bird is. Jackie's known for playing it really safe on blinds. If the dog gets offline at all, she will whistle. And she took him straight to the bird. That was terrific handling. Only 3 casts, 6 points total on the blind.
Mash and Jackie scored 28 points in the first round to advance. They are 12 points better here in the second round, 16. So that is the number that Marty Newport has in mind as he and BB prepare to step to the line. Again, he and Jackie Merton faced each other in the finals of our qualifying event earlier this year in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Heel. Heel.
BB and Marty were the winners there.
Here.
And BB was unsteady at the line in the first round. She's taking a bad line from the start. The judges are going to dock her 2 points for being offline. Marty's going to have to do a lot of handling to get her back together here. And she's confused. She's really confused. They are racking up the points. 2 points every time that whistle is blown. This is a really tough break on the first mark. And things really fall apart from here. Bee's under a lot of pressure. She's young, and she just couldn't get it together.
Well, they were up against it from the start. 16 points from Jackie Merton and Mash. 39 for this pair. Coming up in the last of our semifinal matches, it's Gene Anderson and Slim up against Bill Autry and Cody. What a strong first round they had.
Slim.
It's the last of our semifinal matches. This team is Gene Anderson and Slim, and this is the Go Bird.
They've already assessed 2 penalty points there at the line for being unsteady. And Slim is out of the hunt area. All the dogs are having a hard time with this first bird because of their memories of the blind retrieve in round 1. It was right in this area. And Gene's just letting him wander. It could be because he's just not trusting his own eyesight. He's leaving it up to Slim.
Well, he sighted in only one eye as the result of a BB gun accident when he was 3 years old.
And it's really, really messed up his depth perception. Here on the memory buster. And the memory buster has worked in the case of Slim. He's working the area of where that memory buster fell. That's an old fall. He needs to push another 50 yards or so beyond there to get to that next mark.
Gene's starting to handle now, so that'll cost more points.
Now Slim handles well, and these two work together as a team this way. And he was able to put him straight onto the bird, but that cost them some points.
Back.
Here's the blind retrieve.
Already 20 points against them.
Back.
This has got to be tough for Gene. They're up against Bill Autry, who scored 6 points total in the first round. He's playing it really safe. He's doing a lot of handling here.
Gene says Slim has almost human-like intelligence. Smart enough to find that blind. There he goes.
Well, he did the right thing by playing it safe there. 28 points will be a tough score to beat.
And a vast improvement over their first round effort. That was 61 points. Now, coming up next, the question is, can Bill Autry and CODY top their great effort from the first round? Right now, though, let's throw it to Adrian Karsten in the Olympic Oval. We'll have our earplugs in and be ready for that one. Meanwhile, on the course at work on the Go Bird, Bill Autry and CODY and already in trouble.
And this has been the mark that's caused a lot of problems for a lot of the dogs out here. In fact, all the dogs except Super Sue and Gene Autry's having problems out here. They've already gotten assessed a 5-point penalty for being out of the hunt area. 2 points every time that whistle is blown. Bill has had to treat this like a blind. That puts a lot of pressure on the dog and the handler. That's a tough way to start this round.
15 points on that first bird.
Bill told me earlier this morning he takes absolutely nothing for granted when it comes to handling dogs. He and CODY have a great relationship, but they're racking up the points right now.
This is the third retrieve, the left retrieve, and I'm afraid they're out of it at this point.
A beautiful last effort, but it just wasn't enough.
17 points on the blind bird. They lose to Slim, 47-28. The three teams mentioned most often as favorites, Gene Anderson and Slim, Jackie Mertens and Mash, and Jerry Day and Sue have pushed through this tough qualifying, and they are ready now for the medal round.
And Tommy, as you know, it's the pressure that goes along with the medal round that separates a champion.
Jackie Mertens says 70% of a successful retrieve happens at the starting line. That's why she spends so much time practicing setting her dog up. Another important aspect is focus. Ann Werner and her guest will explain that.
Tommy, I'm joined by Jeff Hennard and his dog, Millie. Millie's going to demonstrate just how focused the dogs can be during the retriever trials. Jeff, we've set up some distractions here at the Oval. Let's see what Millie can do.
Okay. Sit. Mark. Sit. Millie. Heel. Sit.
Made her way back. That looked like it was absolutely no problem here at the Oval. Jeff, thanks a lot. Stick around because coming up, we're going to have the women's endurance finals. But right now, back out to the retriever trials.
We're ready to go now with our medal round. Super Sue and Jerry Day, Gene Anderson and Slim, and Jackie Mertens and Mash. Our course has been reset, and it is a monster now. The center bird, 115 yards. The left bird, 225 yards.
And the blind bird, 288 yards, is called a barn burner. The Go Bird, the first bird they have to pick up.
Start line, as you can see, has been moved around to the left. Gives the course an entirely new look.
And Mash heels to both sides. You saw how Jackie moved around him. And what she's doing, she's trying to line him up perfectly. And he's taking a nice line. But, oh, his head has moved. He's looking side to side. He's a little bit lost out here. He's not sure quite where he is. And she's doing some handling. She's trying to call him back in. Now, here's the situation. He's a bit far to the left. And he's winded another bird. She's having some problems out here. Now, as a handler, she has to make the decision as to whether or not to pull him off of a bird he already knows is there. And she has not. She is letting him go out there. Now, that's going to cost her a lot. That's a 5-point penalty for letting him pick up a bird out of order. Now, that was a strategic decision there. She could have pulled him back over, confused him, put a lot of pressure onto him, and actually racked up a lot of points. She decided to just take these 5.
All those mistakes together cost them 15 points. This could be devastating given the competition here. They've got to reach down and get it and hold this thing together.
Now she could pick up these birds in any order without assessing any points. Jackie told me this morning that Mash is a difficult dog to read, and we certainly saw that on the first mark. Now she's really carefully lining him up for the first bird he was supposed to have picked up from the beginning. And she's being really careful here. She's doing a lot of handling. The staccato whistle, meaning come back towards me. And there he's winded it. You can see his tail's going crazy. He knows it's out here now. He's racked up 19 points now at this point. He needs a really good blind now.
Here. No, no. Sit.
288 yards. That is a long, long retrieve.
It's what's called the barn burner. She has to push him through water, onto land, back into water, back up onto land, and that's a hard thing to do. Now, they've had trouble with their blinds before, and this is the most difficult blind they're going to see.
2 whistles so far on this blind retrieve. There's the 3rd. 25 points.
Now, this is where you could really see a great communication between a dog and a handler. Now, at 288 yards, he is still moving with confidence, totally trusts her. And he still has no idea where that bird is. You can see him looking around. He knows it's out here somewhere now. And she's just letting him go. He's holding his line. And that's called trust. 288 yards, and he puts his nose right onto it. That was a tremendous retrieve.
A great comeback from an early stumble, a fine score of 25. That will be a tough score to beat. They won their first match with 28 points, the second match with 16 points. We'll see if 25 holds up here in the medal round.
That was tremendous handling. What could have been a catastrophe, she immediately forgot their problems, and they moved on to a nearly flawless performance for the rest of the round.
Gene Anderson and Slim.
They have to stay under 25 points. And headed into the blind, they've already racked up 24. And Slim is way, way offline. Not only is Gene blind in one eye, he's also colorblind. Depth perception is clearly totally off. He's allowing Slim to just wander out here. And that racks up points.
There's the other whistle. Now they're basically just trying to hold on to the silver medal now.
And that may be slipping away with Super Sue, just as consistent as she can be, coming up behind them. Racking up more and more points with every whistle.
I didn't help him a lot. I got to be able to see where I'm going myself. Okay, that's my dog.
That was a really tough round, but a huge accomplishment from a skinny little parvo puppy whose chances were slim. That's how he got his name to the finals of the Great Outdoor Games.
Jackie Mertens and Mash lead with 25. Only one more dog yet to run. Super Sue. Jackie Mertens and Mash lead in our medal round with 25 points. There's only one team left, and they have not displayed any real weaknesses today. Atlanta's Jerry Day and Super Sue, the yellow lab.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Jerry's known for talking to Sue a lot. Seems to keep her steady. They have to stay under 25 points. Sue's so consistent, she makes her job look easy, but this confidence is a result of years and years of drills and training with the same handler. She and Jerry are best friends.
Perfect so far, everything on an even keel, but Jerry always says, never forget, they're just a dog, anything can happen.
Now she's off her line here. Jerry's being really careful. Comeback whistler. Put her straight into where she needed to be. She winded the bird. 6 points on that. Coming into the blind, that's a good place to be. And you can see just how deliberate she is. She's in no rush. It's all about trust here, but this is a very difficult blind. The key to being a good handler is knowing exactly when to whistle to your dog. A lot of concentration goes into that. He's being super careful. He's racking up points here. But that big X in the trees is right where that blind is. It's right under that. And she's holding a good line. And that's called the Hail Mary cast. When he takes his hat off, it means he just wants to make sure she sees him.
Oh!
Again, the lowest score wins, 16 so far for Super Sue. Got to keep it under 25.
She's right on top of that bird there. And he put her straight onto it.
Only 12 more points to get to the blind. Add that to the 16 with 18 points. Super Sue and Jerry Day win this thing.
Steady as ever. That's a performance well beyond professional. That is the teamwork of two best friends. Super Sue and Jerry Day take home the gold.
That's a big mouthful, isn't it, sugar? Thank you, Sue.
Master hunting retriever champion, field champion, amateur field champion, and AKC master hunter. The only dog to hold all of those titles. Now she can add another one. 2001 Great Outdoor Games champion, Super Sue.
Good girl. I love you, Gab. You got a heart big as gold. Wow.
Well, Jerry, you came in here the #1 seed overall, and you didn't post the lowest scores in all of your runs, but there was a real consistency in this particular event along with your dog Sue.
Well, that's true. We just wanted to hang in there and try to be consistent and get to the last series. And that's what we did, and she shined in the last series.
At 10 years old, one of the oldest dogs in this competition, was it the fact that she worked a little slower, or was it her overall experience that really helped you win this gold?
Well, 10 years old and her experience, she's helped me out quite a bit. And bless her heart, I'm very proud of her, and she's, like I said, she saved my bacon quite a bit too.
Well, certainly a great bond between your dog Sue and yourself. Congratulations on the gold medal here at the Great Outdoor Games, Jerry, and along with Sue, I'm sure you'll get a pretty big bone when you get home. Stay with us.